Well, for more on this, we're joined by Democratic strategist David Mercer. Thanks a lot for joining us.
It's a pleasure being
David.
here with you, Imran.
For me, it seems as if there are a couple of big elephants squeezed into the closet here. One of them, for example, being the military, which by and large seems exempt from the cuts. Why?
Well, in fact, they're not. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, President Obama, along with Secretary Gates, proposed about $78 billion in cuts in Pentagon spending, which is in contrast to what we've seen over the last couple of weeks, that being missing or off the table, as the Republicans have said they would have everything on the table. They don't. They have a bunch of cuts that they indiscriminately have proposed. They haven't taken those through any analysis or through the legislative process, which is another thing that they spoke to going into the midterm elections last year, which was transparency. And we also saw with the Republicans just last week that they haven't gotten their own caucus in order. I mean, there are several bills from the Patriot Act and others that they took to the floor and then were defeated, or that they had to pull from the floor. So we got to let the Republicans get a little time to get their house in order as the Obama administration takes the leadership in setting the course and seeing to the direction of the country and its future prosperity.
But there has been analysis. There's been bipartisan analysis. The White House's Deficit Reduction Commission in December proposed a $4 trillion reduction. This is only a quarter of that. Why?
I think that in addressing the answers or resolutions proposed by the Debt Commission, it was just that. It's a commission that analyzed in a very global scale some of the ways that we could address our deficit, taking the good out of that, also addressing it in the context of economic realities. I think coming off of the president's State of the Union speech, where we saw that, while we do have to cut those things that do not add to our continued growth, to out-innovate other countries and to be competitive again, you're going to see different solutions added to what the Debt Commission had proposed before the State of the Union address.
But what about those things that the Democrats even support, like the heating assistance for the poor, subsidizing things like oil for heaters for the very poor? Don't you find it quite embarrassing that that's one of the things that is being reduced?
I think that all things are, again, on the table. And one of the other things you do see is the tax subsidies to oil or energy companies, that we have to remove that loophole and take that kind of spending to get to clean air energy alternatives that will provide for, one, greater economic independence and not on just fossil fuels or oil, as we have found ourselves dependent on for decades. So I think that you're going to see a combination of those things that, one, stabilize, and as we heard the president say, that he is freezing federal spending for 5 years, amounting to about $400 billion in savings